I can assure the audience here that the only similarity in both of us is with Carpe Diem since 1998. I think he's an extremely dynamic gentleman. We'll get to know more about him today. I'm, as my instructors in LMI would know, I'm a little purposeless, ambitionless human being, but hopefully I'm doing the best I can. Let's move on to Mr. Lankalingam. Um he made a fantastic introduction to you, but I think the audience is interested in knowing who is Mr. Lankalingam. What is it, your journey from start to now? What are the things that have shaped you? Uh, you inherited a family business of applams and you moved to automotive. That's about as far on the spectrum as can be. So, what drove you to identify that particular business and what ups and downs? Please don't be restricted to my questions. Give us a candid vision of your journey.
Thank you, Deepak, and thank you, LMI, especially Lata and Ramki, for inviting me to this thing. My earliest memory, actually, of childhood was actually my grandmother, because I studied in a small village called Karakadu, and not that my childhood was poverty driven or anything. Just the fact that my dad couldn't handle me in Chennai, so he moved me when I was very young to the village to study. So my grandmother used to take me in a bullock cart to school, so in a small village called Karakadu. And from then on, when I came back to Chennai, people used to call me Karakatan because I didn't know anything about how the city lived, and all my sisters and brothers used to make fun of me saying Karakatan, Karakatan. Because the way they used to eat food, I couldn't eat. So my favorite food was kanji and karwade. So for me, this bread and all that was tough to have. So there used to be this watchman who used to go around blowing whistles. I don't know how old those guards from thingy, they used to blow the whistle. So they'll say, புடிச்சு கொடுத்துருவேன் சாப்பிடலன்னா, so you better eat. So that's how I learned how to do the small changes to city life. A string of schools, right from Our Lady's School. It was a girls' school, and that's where I started my journey from LKG. Went on to a Muslim school where there were 1,500 Muslims, 12 Hindus and 1 Christian. Then went on to a fully Hindu school in Kola Perumal Chetty. Then went on to boarding school after that to Kunur and St. Joseph's. So it was truly a secular run. I mean, geography, history, math, everything started happening. But what I took away from all that was chemistry. I think as long as the chemistry is right, it didn't matter whether it was, what business we were doing. It's not the destination, it was not the journey, it was only chemistry. It was the people we dealt with. And that was a big learning, that it didn't matter where I was, didn't matter what business I did, it did not matter who I met. As long as the chemistry was right, it was fine. So my dad put me in California school, California University. After that, I told him I'm not coming back to India. So he then decided, I don't know, but the story goes he feigned a heart attack. So I had to come rushing back to India to take over the family business, which was struggling. It was a small papadam business. We had about 50 people employed, and we were making handmade papadams, and we were exporting to the UK. My dad was a very aggressive person. I mean, he wore a veti and went to UK and said, I'm going to sell appalam to the English. And that's how we started. In fact, the first way he went around selling papadams was he went to all the bars and gave all the papadams free to 3 bars. And the bar owners found that because he was giving papadams, the beer sales started going up. It was not that, they liked the papadams, but it was so salty that they had to drink more beer. So the beer sales went up. And then he went and found someone and said, can you now sell papadams to these British guys? So found someone, and sold the papadums, and that's the story of how my dad built a small business in papadum in the UK. So when I came back from the US, my thing was how to grow this business. The business was not growing because there was not enough Indians in UK buying papadums. So the only way to, and then so when I did the research, I found that the English people were not consuming our papadums for two reasons. The first reason you will be surprised is because they didn't have the utensils. You know, our papadum was 5 inches. And when it fries, it'll fry to 9 inches. It's a wild animal. And these guys, you know, in UK are having these saucepans which are just 4 inches because they make sausages and tea and nothing else. They don't actually cook anything else. And they don't use a lot of oil in their thing. So if you have ever fried a papadum, you need at least 1 inch of oil, a 9-inch pan, and you have to waste the oil after frying. Of course, in India, we continuously use the thing. So it was not going to happen to grow the business. So when I joined the business in 1986, I decided we have to make some fundamental changes. So the first thing we did was we talked to our buyers and said, everyone who, we had a large buyer. So we told everyone who buys a papadum, can you start gifting them utensils? Can you start giving them 9-inch pans for families if they bought a large amount of thing, and start educating people on BBC how to fry a papadum. So my dad went out to BBC and BBC had called him and said, what is a papadum? How do you fry the papadum? So he went on to think, and it so happened that our buyers were actually suppliers to the Queen of England. So the Queen decided to watch the BBC that fateful night. And it so happened that we became part of the menu in the Buckingham Palace. And, you know, then after that, it was history, because we then decided we are going to go aggressive after the English population. We said, why should we just have only Indians eating our papadum? We'll make the English eat our papadum. So that was my role. So in 1986, January 3rd, I joined the business. And our goal was 1986, that same year, we would launch a ready-to-eat papadum in England. So we found a customer called Marks and Spencer's, most of you would know. Marks and Spencer's, most people think of them as garment manufacturers in India, but they're actually, the main revenue comes from selling food. So we went and approached them, and we told them, if we make a papadum that is pre-fried and ready to eat, would you brand it? And surprisingly, they said, yes, why not? And so we converted a commodity into a brand. And that was a big transformation. And from that 50 people, today we have 900 people working for us with everything from completely made by hand to untouched by human hand. So the whole journey, the whole diaspora of, thing we have, right from microwavable, macrowavable, anything, any kind of format of cooking, air frying, deep frying, vacuum frying. So we have done everything that is there for the papadum side. Then the fateful journey of LMI happened. So in 1998, I get a call from Ramki saying, you need to come and, you need to evolve. I said, from what? So Lata and Ramki called me, and we were the first batch, G1 of LMI. And we had 13 people. I think, I don't know whether it was a 12th or 13th person to join, but we joined. And then in that journey, we were setting smart goals. So one of the thing was, he said, you'll have to make your goals really smart. He taught me how to write smart goals. And one of the goals, he said, what is your goal? Just like Bhuvana said, what is my goal, right? So wrote a lot of goals, and he said, that's not smart enough. This is not good enough. That's not. So finally he said, can you measure your goal? So you write a number that you want to achieve. So foolishly, I told him, it was 1998, our company turnover was 12 crore rupees. I said, in 2 years, I want to become 100 crores. And he said, I said, will it happen? He said, yeah, it'll happen. You write it down. "Huh, you know how Ramki talks. Yeah, it'll happen. Just write it down, write it down. So I wrote down saying that in the next 2 years, I want to reach 100 crores. And then magic happened because we were looking to see how to make this 12 crore into a 100 crore company. And we started really innovating, looking at spaces and all that. Finally, there was an advertisement for becoming a Toyota dealer. I was actually in France in Disneyland with my daughter Malvika here. And we were there, and the advertisement for Toyota had come and gone because I got the the note through fax. Those days there is no not much communication tool, so fax was lying in the hotel reception, which we found only on a departure because in Disneyland they don't have room service. You have to go pick up the fax, and as I was saying it's Saturday, and it's already the thing had lapsed. So fast forwarding, we just decided, okay, we'll fly back. We reached on Sunday morning, and we opened the internet because I don't give up that easily. So we opened the internet, and there it said only on internet you're allowed to register till 6 p.m. on Sunday evening, and payment has to happen on Monday morning at 10 a.m. If you wanted to apply. So we were the 800th application. We put in the entire, filled all the thing on the internet. And morning we made Citibank open their branch on a Sunday afternoon, got a 1 lakh check for making the payment, flew in at 6 o'clock morning flight and put the deposit, in the, the watchman wouldn't let us in because he said, we don't know who you are. But anyway, finally we got it in. Long story short, we made a presentation in Japanese, profit sharing, people skills, and we landed the distribution for becoming a Toyota dealer. And in the year 2000, we did 112 crores. So that was the big win, and a lot of thanks to Ramki and Lata, without whom I don't think this whole thing would have happened.
Anybody who owns a car, we find it difficult. We struggle to remember who the car dealer is. If I ask you who's the dealer for Nissan, I don't know if somebody might tell. BMW maybe. But there's only one brand where there's a prefix before the brand, and that is Lanson Toyota. I don't think anybody who owns a Toyota, even if he has bought it from Harsha, or anybody knows who's the third dealer? I had to do some homework. Even if they bought it from Harsha, Lanson Toyota is an unforgettable phrase of 2 words. It's a brand. So Toyota actually, at least in South India, I don't know about the rest of India, but they really owe it to Mr. Lankalingam for creating that prefix for the brand Toyota. And you know how strong the Toyota brand is globally. They are the #1 car manufacturer in the world. In South, in Tamil Nadu, Lanson is a brand prefix. And let me come to that now specifically. Before I start the specific questions, would you like to just voluntarily, give us insight into how you built the brand? I know you were very, very focused on it, but, and then I'll come to the aspects of it.
So we didn't have any experience in, because most of the dealers who come, they're actually experienced in automobile trading. But for us, we didn't have any experience in automobile trading, but we had experience in dealing with people because basically we are a profit sharing company. So for me, I believe that if you can share profits with your team, then sky is the limit. You can do any business, you can do any amount of business. Today we are at 1,800 crores turnover. And it's all because of my team. It's not because of me, because my people complain about us that we are not customer centric. Because I am not. Because I am team centric. My first customer is my team. So I make my team happy. Today I have 1,800 Lansonites in Lanson Toyota. Each one of them is my customer. So I sell my business to my team first. And they look after my customers. Otherwise, we have a phrase, don't make him a customer, kashtapadtade. make him a customer. So simple rule, as long as you can do everything that the customer, because customer is king, right? And for me, my customer is my team member. So I don't want to do anything to upset him or her in the thing. So from, we have like, Rafi said, kase to cos. We have a thing, we used to say from kase to class. Don't have so much kase, have some class. So I've learned a new thing that, from kase to cos. So I'm going to elevate myself to Rafi's level and think about a more holistic, approach.
Fantastic.
We also have another thing, from watchman to chairman. So watchman to chairman is one of our favorite lines. So we are on a profit sharing, right from doorman to chairman. Everybody shares profit, of course, differentially, but every month. So that is one of our key, success stories. So that.
I'll come to that little. But first thing, I don't know who told you you're not customer centric. You're looking at a very, very satisfied customer and a repeat customer. So I have to say. But okay, moving on. Now, specifics of the business. Let's start with the RRR, which is basically the recruitment, the retention, the rewards, and the retention. Today, most businesses face the biggest challenge they face is finding the right people for the right jobs. How do you go about it? Is there any specific attributes you look at? How do you recruit them? How do you reward them? How do you?
Okay, when I started recruiting for Toyota, for example, we didn't know where to recruit. So since most of the experiences I've had myself, like when I still remember when I used to go to buy a Fiat car, I still remember vividly the manager, smoking in front of me, thing, and said, I asked him, where do I fill the application form? He said, அங்கே இருக்கு, fill பண்ணிட்டு அந்த இதுக்குள்ள போட்டுட்டு போயிடு. நாங்க கூப்பிடுவோம் வரும்போது you come and deliver. Today, if you don't serve coffee with a biscuit on the side and, serve it yourself, the basic protocol itself is not met. So for us, recruiting, so when I think about recruiting first started not from the automobile industry. Normally people would just go to the automobile industry and hire people. So I started eating in all the 5-star restaurants. And anybody who gave good service, I would give my card and said, come and see me tomorrow, your salary is into 2. So simple. So my first hiring was in Taj. I remember I went and took 2 people from Taj, 2 people from Sheraton, and that's it. And I flew to Delhi, and my friend was working as a Oberoi manager, lobby manager in Oberoi. So I told him, will you come and join me as my GM? Because, hospitality, it's all about giving good service to people. We don't service cars, we service people at the end of the day. So as long as, so we decided to do that, and our whole thing was hospitality, because hospitality is the only industry which teaches people how to treat people. Everything else, you're servicing some product or thing. So in our thing, we say we don't sell cars. We create relationships. So as long as you take away the brand, take away everything else, you strip it down, it's finally down to a relationship between 2 human beings. And that is the key for success.
Fantastic. I never thought of it. I should give this a thought. We are also in the service business. Okay, so you did cover rewards because you spoke about your profit sharing. So I will give that a go, miss for now. Retention is another problem that people. Sorry? Hiring, recruitment.
Okay.
That I covered.
So hiring itself, so when I first started hiring, first 5 years, anybody who's going to face a customer, I would hire myself. I never we didn't have a HR department. I was a HR department. We didn't have a customer's CR department. Everyone became the CR department. Because CR for us is not a department, it's a culture. It's a culture of making sure that everyone is looked after. So there's no department. For first 5 years, we didn't have a CR department. And so when normally people would come in and people would score, like I heard the usual hiring matrix is, you get 10 points for this, you get 10 points for this, you get 10 points for this. My whole hiring system was completely different. I would just hire them. The moment they walk out of the door, I hire them. Okay, you're hired. But along the interview, they can de-hire themselves by saying wrong things. So I would give them 100 and then take off, add about 40% and say, out the door. So that's how it was. So, and the things I would look for is not paperwork, because people would say, I'm an MBA, I'm this, I'm that. At the end of the day, I say, okay, what did you do in school? Especially for sales guys. They will say they studied here, they didn't bunk school. And never hire anyone who did not bunk school. I would never hire anyone who didn't have a girlfriend or didn't go out and party and all that. I mean, if you don't know how to sell yourself to another person, how are you going to sell my freaking car? So, simple things like that. So I look for people who are maverick in nature, who look different. In fact, my thing is, I want to have a blind salesman, because they see the world more beautifully than normal people. So 2% of our company is devoted to differently able people, regardless of what they are. And minimum 12% of the company has to be women. That's our another thing. In our Papadam division, we are gender biased, because we have 80% women and 20% men. So here it's 20% women and 80% men. So that's how our thing is. Plus our tools for profit sharing is also, we take the top 10% of our team members abroad every year, or a cruise or whatever. But it's not top percent as what you think. It is right from your watchman to your toilet cleaners to your welding boys to your drivers. Everyone gets to go along with me. So that's another thing.
So I think
So you have to be top 10% in whatever you do.
So I think you broached on to the next area, which again is the next. No problem. Absolutely, so that's the next challenge that most of us face. I don't know how many of us retaining them, but you've so beautifully put it out that how you can keep your people happy. I think the biggest key point that you made is, my people are my first customers, and then if I take care of them, they take care of me. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Let's come to leadership. Everybody thinks leadership is rocket science. Leadership is something that most people don't have or can't obtain. What do you think is the key attributes of a good leader?
I think a good leader's got to listen. So, we have this term called Mulu Sombu in our thing. So a lot of people come with Mulu Sombus, which means they're already full. Whenever you tell them anything, it just sort of flows over. So we first empty a little bit, then come. We know a lot of things. So most of the MBAs, that's why we never hire MBAs in our thing. I love rural people, because they come. I love rural people and rural customers, because they come raw. They come without any molding. So if you look at, for example, my CEO who works for me, who runs our 1,500 crore company, she came as a call center girl. In 20 years, she learned everything. She was a top insurance person in the country. She was a best, finance leader in the country. Today, she runs my thing, from becoming from a call center girl to a CEO of my company. So she runs everything. And Lavanya is all of 40 years old today. She runs she runs a company. Of course, my son is also part of the company. He's growing with her, and so we also follow the Japanese system. Just because he's born as my son or my daughter, they don't just get to sit right at the top of anything. They still have to go. So my son joined as a used car salesman, and for the last 8 years, he's been working his way up. He's still not reached CEO level. Although he's on a same pay grade as her, he's still joint managing director, but draws less money than her. So that's how we are, in the system.
But doesn't it take guts to take that initial step to recruit somebody at that level when they don't have any experience? Or it's just putting faith in people, do you think?
I don't think so. In fact, there was a tea girl in my office. She used to serve tea, smiles beautifully. And her name is Subhashini. So one day we were walking around, and we just spoke to her and said, what are you earning? She said, I'm earning 15,000 rupees. So I said, would you like to become a salesperson, because you have such a beautiful smile? She said, I don't know anything about sales. I said, you know everything about sales. A person who knows how to serve coffee with a smile, knows everything about sales. Today, she is India's number one used car salesperson, selling 250 cars in a year. So,
That's probably a volume.
eh, I'm telling you, a lot of dealerships in Chennai only sell 250 cars a year. So she's like a one-person dealership. Yeah, so
Okay, so on that same note, um, uh, trying to combine retention with leadership, do you think actually it's an organization that retains people or it's an effective leader that retains people?
I don't think people leave organizations. People leave people.
They're superiors.
Yes, people leave people. It's nothing about thing, because if you are, you can be the greatest organization in the world, but if you're a bad person, people are going to leave you. If you don't care for them, they will know it. So we put a lot of thing on retention, not from the thing, but our managers. So we have a thing that the higher you are in the organization, you will say good morning to the lowest person you come across every day. You will say, please, thank you. I also tell them that, everything you want to know in business, LKG le kathu கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. Sorry, thank you, please, good morning. இந்த நாலு இதுவும் வந்து கற்றுக்கிட்டிங்கன்னா, you know the ABCs of business. Rest is all hogwash. Everything else is hogwash.
I can understand. The last on this topic. So we are seeing Gen Z, true as British colonial blood as I have, not Z but Z. So we are seeing that there's a very different work culture amongst the youngsters today. Do you actually see a difference between 15, 20 years back when you recruited, when you started out, and when you're starting today? I mean, when you're recruiting today? And is there a specific way differently that you can deal with Gen Z? Or do you just feel at the end of the day?
We saw Gen Z today. They were brilliant. I mean, they speak better than me. They
Correct.
speak better than you. They speak better than all of us
Yeah,
in the audience. I don't think we have to be afraid of Gen Z at all. Gen Z is going to look after herself. So my forum buddy in YPO used to say, apples don't grow on orange trees. So, I mean, an apple tree is going to get an apple thing. So don't worry about your children. Don't worry about your team. Everyone's going to be fine. Everyone's going to work it out. So I think Gen Z, like for example, my daughter, she came and joined the business in our ESG side. We are a Papadam company. What have we got to do with ESG? But when you work it out, the value of an ESG, doing society, making sure you give back to community, getting carbon credits and all that, are actually more valuable than the Papadam we sell. The Papadam we sell is a product. ESG is a full value creation model, which can be, so the power of my company through ESG has grown double, just because, I mean, we used to think, what are we going to do back? So today, corporate farming, giving back to farmers, working with villages, growing our own black gram, we are going right down to the grassroots level. Making a farmer smile is the ESG program. That's all she's initiated. But the share price of my buyer has gone up 10%. They made $20 million last year on the share price alone, just because they attached our ESG price to their letterhead. So that's the...
Yeah, I know this carbon footprint and carbon credits is getting very critical and most people don't understand it, but we'll leave that out for the time being. Okay, so the last point before I go to your personal this thing, professionalism. Okay, every micro, small, medium enterprise starts out as one individual's vision or passion, right? And then we kind of scale up, we keep growing. And at some point, when we reach a certain scale, we struggle because of a lack of professionalism. Did you face anything like that while scaling up? How did you deal with it?
So we have another saying in our company. Vision irkalam, ana vishayamum irukanum. So, vishayam illana, vision is waste. Right?
I'm getting a lot of quotes. I think I'll use that.
So, and Visham is not a great deal. You just got to follow basic things of willing to learn, following a protocol. And today with AI, in our heads, today we are able to do almost everything. I mean, reports, speeches, everything is so easy. I don't think we should professionalize. If you ask me, we should just keep it as organic as possible, because organic growth is what we recommend. In fact, Toyota came, we hired a managing director from Australia. His name was Ian McLean. I went to Melbourne. We were having a big meeting, and there was this director of Toyota operations of South Asia Pacific. He handed me his card, and I was so enamored with him. So I said, okay, will you become my CEO? He said, okay, $120,000 is my fees. Okay, done. So I thought he'll do magic. 6 months into my, after getting, cultural misfit. He still had his legs on top of the table. He would hand over his visiting card with his left hand, walk with shoes into someone's thing. Then you realize that professionalism is not what we think the British taught us, right? Yeah. Professional is about making sure that culturally we are a fit. If you're a cultural misfit, regardless of how much money you have, you're a useless cog in the wheel.
So absolutely, I agree with you. Sometimes professionalism is confused with corporate rigidity. Absolutely. And I use the word very carefully, corporate rigidity, not corporate. Because that, I actually had a question which was under the RRR. Should you give a more freer working environment, a very hard, disciplined working environment? I think you answered it. Things like, for example, in our organization, all 300 people wear the same uniform. But apart from that, I don't think there are very restrictive practices inside. Like many companies say, you can't leave the office premise during working hours and things. Do you think it actually works? I mean, on the spectrum, one side you see some of the...
So I had a guy who used to sell my expensive cars. He'll say, boss, don't call me to work. So I'll say, what do you mean? Don't you need to know the team and all? His name was Hitesh. And so he used to say, don't call me to work. What is your target? I say maybe like 10 cars a month. I'll sell 20, but don't call me to work. So
you had work from home even before COVID.
He was working in my customers' homes because he was a guy who every Sunday will go and make biryani. If it's if the customer likes a biryani, he'll order a biryani. If the customer is an ardent faith of Balaji, he'll have Tirupati laddus. He'll go to Tirupati, bring the laddu himself and say, I just went to Tirupati, I just came to see you. So why would he want to come to work? So there's no reason for anyone to work from office at all. I mean, you work at your own pace, your own style, and that's how I think business, grows.
Okay, so
I work on the golf course, so I don't work as well.
That's a good response. Now, so I'll come to the last part. Now we want to understand the M. Lankalingam outside Lanson Group. How do you strike the work balance, personal balance? What keeps your sanity during very anxious times? Sanctity. Sorry.
Well, I'm working towards three things. Like someone said, that when your daughter is 10 years old, she'll say, my dad is the greatest.
Correct.
At 20 years old, she'll say, my dad is a muttal. And at 50 years old, she'll say, my dad used to say. So I am hoping that journey, is what I'm competing towards, to say that I leave a legacy for my children to say, my dad used to say this, my dad used to say that. Whether I said it or not, it doesn't matter. As long as I say, I used to say, I'm happy.
But personally,
I think
what keeps you sane?
What keeps me happy is I'm an early riser. I like to play golf in the morning, so I'm out by 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to reach my golf course at 5:30 and be the first person to tee off, because that way we can get to work by 9:30, 10. But these days I work out first and work later. So that's how my work starts, with workout. And my goal, as you know, is make work play. So you either read it together or you read it separately. You can make work and play, or make work as your play. And I think I don't feel I'm working at all. So for me, I play a lot. I play badminton. That is my main sport. And golf to relax, and badminton to think. Plus, golf is a good teacher because it tells you that you never stop learning. Till you die, you will never stop learning.
That is one game where you play with yourself. So
absolutely. It's a game you play with yourself. And the course
you have to keep bettering your own performance. So you can.
Absolutely.
So you think over the years your priorities have changed on this aspect, or you feel that you've been very consistent across all ages? Because I think we have audience from various ages, various parts, stages of our life. And the question is, what is the comparison or benchmark that we take home from Mr. M. Lankalingam about young age to old age, or not old age, young age to middle age? Old age comes much later when you said my pasaka used to say. But that,
I think I probably have two things to say. One is to the older folk in this organization, like me, I'm 60 years old today. And I would say, give your children enough to do anything, but don't give them enough to do nothing.
Perfect.
So that is one line I would like to say. And probably, God, I'm getting old in this.
you need the reading glasses.
And then I think the last thing is, I think we are all a lot of humans doing things. So I think we should move from a human doing to a human being. I think that's probably the last shot, I think.
Fantastic. If I've left out something, is there any specific moments, incidents, ups and downs, learning lessons, anything you'd like to share with the audience?
See, as Rafi said, I don't believe in negativity in anything.
Yeah.
In fact, my letters from my organization to anyone outside, if you read any of my letters, it will not even have one word called sorry. In our company, we try to say, don't tell sorry, just say thank you for understanding. So that's the kind of filter that goes through right from lettering to thought process to surrounding yourself with good, positive people. I think such a fantastic thing. But that's all you need. You got the recipe for doing everything in your life. And I'm telling you, 1,000 is going to happen. 1,000 is going to happen.
No doubt. No doubt.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Dilip, do we get time for any Q&As? Do you want me to open up the floor or just cover up? What's our time? Fine, close up? Okay, so I just want to end by saying, first of all, Jishnu, thank you very much for the introduction, but I just want to share one moment. So I was doing my third program with LMI in 2020 and we got stuck in the COVID, so we had to kind of defer a few. And then when we finally finished the course, I was one of 10 participants sitting around a table and they said, you know, we have a very special felicitation today. And I said, like looking at everybody around and, you know, because each course I did with different people, so I didn't have a familiarity with the contestants. And then they suddenly said, the felicitation, we are felicitating Deepak Ramaswamy. And I was like, what are you felicitating me for? And he's like, for our 20-year journey together. That was not the impressive part. The impressive part was he had actually created a plaque with me in my motorcycle clothes, standing alongside my bike on a hairpin bend on the way to Megamalai. And I was wondering where the hell he got this photo from until I realized I'd posted it on Facebook. The point I'm trying to make is this introduction that you got is his own creation. But Dilip, thank you so much for this opportunity. It is something I am absolutely privileged and honored to do, talking to a gentleman of the stature of Mr. M. Lankalingam, who is a brand by himself. Okay, it's really been a privilege. And I wish LMI the very best. Carpe Diem, Born to Win, franchises of LMI. Sorry, I should say LMI, but I wish you the very best for maybe another 50 years, as long as you're at the helm. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for patiently listening to us. I hope there is enough value add and takeaways from what we said. Thank you so much.